happen now is the National Hurricane Center will start giving hourly updates once they get a clear picture of the eye on radar. So, as we look at these numbers coming in, we want to focus on the actual position there, the longitude and latitude given hourly. Key West is about 82 degrees west. Miami is about 80 degrees west. So as we watch this storm move, we want to try to determine the point where it turns. That forecast turn is expected, but where it happens within this area, depending on the latitude, could have a big impact on where we expect to see the core moving over South Florida. So we will look at these numbers closely once we start getting those hourly updates. For right now, it is well to the south. We're good 250 miles away, and these outer bands are the concern right now because as they move through, the rain picks up and we start to see some stronger wind gusts. Now, the wind picking up later, there's that flash flood watch, and this is for south of Lake Okeechobee because the Army Corps of Engineers feels that as the wind picks up, the water can actually start to rock back and forth and may actually overwash some of the dikes there to the south, and that could lead to a flash flooding event there. So some dikes are under construction, so they are concerned. They've tried to lower the water, but it may not be enough. As the wind picks up, it actually rocks the water back and forth, which can overwash the area. Now, with the storm tracking a little farther west, we do get the concern of these bands coming in around the center of the storm, and if they line up over one area as the storm continues to move north, we get rain coming over the same area, feeding into that core. So that's why the flood risk is increased today. We have the flood watch in place. This rain coming in will be later today, Sunday, and into Monday as the storm passes by. Once the storm goes to our north, then that threat for the flooding continues. Waves are starting to pick up now as the storm moves south of the Bahamas. We're no longer shielded there, so the waves will pick up, and the waves washing up can actually increase that storm surge. You get them washing on top of that increased surf with that wind, so that's why the storm surge risk will really start to increase today. You'll notice the waves really picking up throughout the day today as the storm continues to track to our south and it moves west. We do have some wind gusts to talk about, and this is our neighborhood network. We've had gusts 20, 25, 30 miles an hour. These are the current gusts. We'll focus in here on northern Broward County, then we'll go, well, we did go a little farther south. I can fix that. There, and we're seeing the wind gusts up to upper 20s right now in St. Thomas University. Now we're into northern Miami-Dade. Bal Harbour Park is 33 miles an hour. We've had some stronger wind gusts, 40 to 50 miles an hour with that first band that came through. So the wind picking up, these numbers will only go up from here. Tropical storm force wind gusts at first. But we are now seeing that the wind will become sustained to 40 miles an hour and begin to increase. So the winds right now, northeast to east-northeast, you have a number of neighborhood networks around. We'll continue to bring you more and more information. But watching that first band of rain, it's just to the south approaching the Keys. And as that moves through, look for that wind to really start to pick up and the bands become more and more frequent here over the next few hours. Back to you.
All right, Dave Warren, thank you. And as Dave mentioned, the storm still, I believe it was 250 miles away, he said, but you see those outer bands already starting to make the presence of Hurricane Irma felt across South Florida. The Keys bracing for it, an evacuation order obviously in place for the people there, but apparently not too late to get out. We're still seeing some people leaving, so that's some good news. Including police from Key West now leaving, and we actually want to check in now with our David Sutter joining us live from the Snapper Creek Service Plaza. And what's going on there? That's Key West police that's leaving Key West and is there now?
Yeah, I just got done talking with the officer and his family, and they're shell shocked here. I got a little feedback here, guys, if you guys can help with that. But they're shocked. Basically, what the officer told me is that the call came from the chief to get in your car and take it out of the islands, take it to the mainland. It told everyone to take their cars and leave Key West. And so that's what they're asking them to do, and he was in shock. He's got his entire family. The blue car is his dad, another relative in the red car here, and they're trying to figure out where they're going to go. The plan is to go straight north right now until they can get this figured out. They may go, they apparently have family in Virginia, and that's where they're thinking. They packed up the dog, they packed up all the family, and they're on their way out. I just, looking at this officer, he is just shaken because he's talking about everything he knows. Just he really feels like it's gone. He just really like came across as if that's the fact, that it's gone. And I usually you see a lot of calmness in that. I was really shocked. We stopped here in Snapper Creek Plaza. This is the turnpike. This is the first place you can get gas on the turnpike when you're coming out from the Keys. And this is a busy hub. It's not crazy. Obviously, it's the middle of the night. But you can see people have been pulling up for gas. This is facing towards, going down towards the Keys and Homestead. You can see, people lining up here and getting gas. But let's, Mitch, let's go across. Let's go across. And obviously, there's a lot of troopers here. This is actually a trooper station nearby here as well. They're sort of just waiting to see what they need to do. Not a whole lot going on the roads. Roads are pretty empty, with the exception of what's happening coming out of the Keys tonight. As we come on to the other side, there are still people making their move here. And you can see some of the cars lining up here. People are doing it. This is a lot, mostly this is not local traffic. These are folks that are making their way out of Key West. Guys, I'm still having a mix-minus issue on the earpiece, if we can help with that. But I was really taken with that officer. I couldn't believe that first Key West was here, and then when I spoke to him, how he was reacting to everything. I asked him where the other officers were. He said they're all spread out. Everybody left at different times as soon as they could. He, before he left, he actually made an effort to get to his family, get them all ready, and get them out. They were all planning on riding it out, and they decided once the order came to evacuate, they left. You guys from the Keys?
Yeah. This is why people don't evacuate.
What's your name?
Tony.
Tony, what key are you on?
Key West.
So I just saw the Key West Police Department here.
Were they?
Yeah, I saw one of them as well. We just bugged out about, what, 2.5 hours ago?
You left 2.5 hours ago?
Yeah.
That's a pretty quick trip out.
Yeah, quick trip out, but this is the last station with any gas for, we don't know how long.
Yeah, it's not safe to be on the road. You're better off, in my opinion, being in some kind of school or something than no gas. They need gas.
Well, and we had
at a couple
really
stations at least.
Interesting
you
experience with the Miami-Dade County Police at the racetrack just outside of the Keys.
I ran out of gas.
We were trying to put the gas cans in, and they came up, probably a dozen of them, and started really kind of rudely squawking at us that we had to go. And we're like, well, how do we go without gas? You know, and
making everyone leave that are parking looking for gas at the Homestead.
And we're obviously on no sleep for 4 days because we've been helping everybody board up and try to get out and everything else, so we're a little frazzled, but didn't enjoy that experience, I'll tell you.
You look
tired,
shaken and tired. Are you nervous right now?
I am nervous because a lot of the people that I wanted to help rescue chose to stay behind, and they opened the Key West High School for those people. La Concha is one of the safer buildings, and it's full to capacity, but we're not certain that the Key West High School is even going to save them. So we're worried about the people we love who didn't get out.
Were you ever intending to leave, or were you planning to ride this out there?
I was planning on staying. As a matter of fact, when I decided to get in the car, I was having a beer at Salty Angler. So, yeah, I was planning on staying up till, what, 2.5, 3 hours ago?
Was this a forecast that you chose to leave, or what motivated you suddenly?
Combination of stuff. The other few storms running right behind it, and there was a big council meeting, and I don't know, they suggested even the police and everybody get out. So
The police aren't staying, you're not, huh?
well, not that, but they want the fire and all the rescue people to leave. You know,
Yeah.
they normally have some place to bunker down.
Well, and they changed the graphic on the TV at that point that said "Get out now." There was no other graphic, just "Get out now."
Where are you going?
I'm headed to my mom in Atlanta, but probably stopping in Jacksonville to see my friend Shannon and get some rest and a shower, hopefully, and go see my dog, which is already in Atlanta because my friend Cassie brought him up 3 days ago. She made the smart move and bugged out early, and hopefully I'll get some rest in Atlanta. But we'll see, because it's headed that way too.
Yeah.
And we wait that long to see, you know, it is better to get out early, but
Well,
it might swing, and if it does, we're running into where it was going to go. So it kind of seems senseless to do that.
I will tell you this, it is better that you are here on mainland than trying to hold onto a rock and swim through this. So
absolutely.
I agree.
thank you so much, guys. Listen, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
I know
Same to
we've been down
everybody
there with you guys, and I know what you guys been doing. It's
They
awesome.
can get
So
gas cans with gas to the
yeah.
Homestead gas station. That people keep gathering there, and the cops keep making them leave, and they're out of gas. So
Yeah.
Wow.
They,
All right, thank
they
you.
need to be a little more compassionate about that, I think.
yeah,
Um,
group that rolled up there should be anyway.
Well, hopefully they'll start sending them this way. That's the plan, right?
All right, guys, be safe.
Same to you. My colleague Ted Scouten is actually at that racetrack they're talking about in Florida City, and he's actually headed this way. Yes, sir.
I know I got the only drone footage of Key West.
You got drone footage?
When everybody was gone. Yeah, I was going to do a little documentary.
Gotcha.
But my wife actually convinced me to get out of there, so I drove up just now.
Yeah. You were trying to get footage of it, and you decided to leave?
Well, I was going to stay, and I was going to do a little documentary. I actually got a lot of footage. I probably got about 20 different, like, locals' thoughts on what they thought about the hurricane. Most of the people not leaving and staying. I got a lot of them talking. The high school's packed. You know, it's got there's cars and stuff everywhere. Yeah, I really wanted to make something really big, but my wife freaked out at the last moment, and she was leaving with me or without me. So, yeah, I guess I had to get on the road.
You decided
definitely.
to stay married?
Yes, that would be the better choice. Yes, definitely in this instant, for sure.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you made the right choice, all right?
Yeah, no decision.
And, you know, maybe you get back down there afterwards and you finish it that way.
33 years of Key Wester. I've been in Key West 33 years of my life. I went to HOB, Poinciana. I'm pretty popular. I guarantee you when people see this, they're going to be like, oh, my God, D. But, yeah, thanks for even putting me on, man. Hi, Mom. Stay safe.
He's okay. He's back on the mainland, right? Gotcha. As we were coming on here, I was talking about Ted Scouten is actually down by that racetrack. He's headed up towards us, and we're going to actually be handing everything over to him for your continuing coverage through the morning. And so I'm sure he'll have plenty to say about what's going on down there. But as you see the cars starting to line up here, you heard the people saying in the Keys there that this is the first time that they've been able to discover gas between here and Key West. And it's not just an instance of, oh, look at that little guy. It's not just an instance of necessarily having gas, but everything's closed. It's just the time of day that this is happening. So people evacuating with their animals. Pretty crazy what's going on right now. You guys coming out of the Keys?
We just coming.
Local. What's that?
Local, I'm local.
Gotcha. Well, you found the gas. That's good. All right. Be safe. So. Can you guys still hear us back at the station? I think I might have lost you on the audio.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got
David.
you. We're just taking this all in with you. A couple notes here. Gotta love the colorful characters from the Keys. Special people for sure. And late.
Emotional to hear what they have to say, though, about leaving so late.
Yeah, whatever the case is, I'm glad that they decided, whether because they decided on their own or because their wife told them you got to do it, or because I'm doing it.
Happy wife, happy life.
I'm glad they're getting out of there.
I don't know
for
if you
sure.
saw it. I don't know if you saw it in those two guys we were interviewing. They're different shade of white this morning, and you can just pick up this vibe. There's just some nervousness in the air. They're not just scared of what they just left. They're scared about what is going on down there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of imagination right now of how bad things are going to get. And I think the clock is really ticking, especially on them right there.
Almost a little bit of regret. I mean, the first gentleman you were talking to said that his friend did the smart thing and left early. And I'm wondering if he was thinking, you know, maybe I should have left a little earlier.
Yeah, I think so. Are you coming out of Key West?
Yeah.
What's your name, sir?
Rick Bailey.
Rick, you're coming in very late. Is this by intention, or did you decide?
Last minute decision.
Based on what?
Just a shift of the pattern to the left, and it looked like a bomb coming in, so it was time to get out of there.
You've stuck out many storms, I assume, or many threats?
I've had threats down there before, but this is too massive to even risk it. So seriously, I was staying up to the last minute, and just said nope. I got to go.
When did you leave? About
12:30.
12:30. What's it like down there right now when you left?
Well, I was running into some storms around Alamorada, Marathon area. Looked like the outer band was coming through, so the winds were starting to push the car around and everything. But once I got past there, it was pretty clear sailing.
Are other people like you leaving, or are they
the guy that's in 2 cars in front of me? I saw him down Key West today, and he's a friend of mine. I know him, so. Yeah. He made a last-minute decision also.
Gotcha. I know they opened up the gymnasium there, apparently at the high school.
Oh, I wish I'd have known that. I probably would have maybe stayed, but that would have been kind of late now. But
well, I'll tell you this: we saw Key West police here.
Yeah.
They evacuated.
Yeah. Because really not sure where I'm going. I guess I'm heading up toward Orlando, so it's kind of a play about here.
There is a shelter here at FIU.
I don't want to stay at a shelter, though. I'm trying to avoid the shelter. I really want to stay in a hotel. So.
Gotcha. Understandably, I think that that's sort of a theme for all the folks evacuating in Monroe County. They don't want to end up at the shelter.
I may have gone to the gymnasium, but the storm was just too big to leave. I'd have lost my car if I'd have left it there. There's only a few spots in Key West, and I even pulled an elevation map to check them out and everything, and it was. Every car had every spot taken in the prime spot, so it would have been nothing. It still may not be nothing left, so real not sure.
Well, listen, sir, I wish you the best. All right, hopefully you get some rest and find a good place tonight.
Pull over here.
Gotcha. Talking about those elevation things that he was dealing with. Out at the bridges, we were kind of showing this early on. At the bridges, they had these setups where people were leaving their cars at the easements. So right before the bridge, the little easement area, they were actually parking their cars there. It's the highest elevations in the Florida Keys are these right before the bridges and at the end of the bridge. And so when we were driving out today, completely packed all the way up. People were even taking just a little bit of grade just to take something. And when you think about it, those cars are going to get blasted. There's nothing protecting it. They're going to get blasted with wind the entire time. But they're okay with that. You know, new paint job, some dents, whatever, as long as it doesn't wash out into the sea. But this is just remarkable. This line is continuing to build. This is going to be definitely a marker for the folks living in the Keys before and after Irma. Pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm pretty
David,
sure.
I looked at the faces of those people, specifically the man you just spoke to, Rick Bailey, and then the 2 gentlemen you spoke to at first. The first 2 gentlemen looked absolutely exhausted. They said that they'd been helping other people board up their homes, so we certainly do appreciate their efforts. Mr. Bailey, whom you just spoke to, described it as when he saw the last track, saying it looked like a bomb coming in, and the storm hasn't even arrived there yet. How surprising is it to see these reactions from people before they even have any damage?
These are seasoned folks. I mean, they have been through this scare over and over again. They never leave. These are the hardcore folks that always stick it out, and they are scared. They are shaken. They are visibly shaken, and like I said, yeah, they are trying to get traffic moving through here because they have pumps on the other side open, so they're trying to keep things moving. But they're shaking. You know, you're fearful because it's not just your safety; it's the people that you're leaving behind, people you know that are staying behind. It's your home, it's your business, it's your job. It's all at risk right now, and you may not be coming back to anything, and that's a big fear. You guys coming out of Key West? Oh, and you got your little guy? Who's this? What's your name?
My name's Ebony.
Ebony? Oh, I think you need to move forward. We'll walk around with you if that's all right. Ebony, what time did you leave?
Around
12:30. Around 12:30. All right. We're going to let her drive and walk aside here and let her get in place in line, and then we'll do this safely.
Tell you what, it looks like that dog's ready to go somewhere.
Yeah.
He almost jumped on you.
But we're so glad that they are up on the mainland now, that they made that decision. Even at the last minute, there were still time for some people to make that move. We're glad to hear, in a sense, that that shelter, or that the high school, Key West High, is open to the people who are choosing to stay. But pretty sobering to hear from that first gentleman that he's worried of how much damage that school can really take.
Let's get Ebony's story here.
Absolutely. Ebony, tell me why you decided very last minute here to get out.
Because the storm is way too big.
Yeah.
It's just massive, so last minute we decided to go.
What is going on in Key West right before you left? What was going on?
Nothing was going on in Key West. It was calm there. No storms, no wind. It was scattered rain here and there. But Marathon, it was pretty windy and raining a lot.
I spoke to some folks earlier that are really scared about this.
Yeah.
Are you scared?
I'm scared for the people we left behind, yeah.
You left a lot of people back there?
My mom and my aunt and my in-laws.
What's going through your mind right now?
Leaving Miami and hoping I can find gas.
Gotcha. Are you in contact with them at all? Have you told them maybe they should get out? Or...
Yes, definitely.
Why are they staying? Why aren't they with you right now?
Because they're conks. Conks don't leave.
Man, I mean, it just seems irresponsible, so risky.
I mean, on the outside looking in, it probably does, but when you were raised down there and, you know, that's your life and you've been there for 60 plus years, you're a conk. You don't leave, you know. You just batten down the hatches and ride it out.
You think she's gonna be okay?
Yeah.
You know, the police left.
Oh, did they?
They were here.
Okay.
We saw Key West police cars here.
They'll be fine.
Well, you gotta have some faith, I hope. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
If anyone's watching this down in the Keys, what would you tell them?
Be safe. That's the best I can say. Be safe.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you.
I'm glad you made the decision. I'm a little worried for you. I think we all are. But I hope everything works out.
They'll be fine.
Good. All right. And who is this?
Onyx.
Onyx. She's sweet. He's sweet.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right, guys. Be safe.
Incredible to hear, David,
just,
that she said that her words for people in Key West isn't get out, it's be safe.
Yeah.
So it almost sounds like
Conks don't leave, she said.
There's that mentality of that's where you're from and that's what you do. You just, like she said, bang down the hatches.
Yeah, we as reporters try to, sort of tell that message and try to explain what these folks are thinking. I can't explain it the way she just did. That's it. That explains why there's still people in Key West right now, and why some of them are coming out. Some of them think, they've got this, and some of them are saying, "What the heck are we doing?" And thank God, some are making the wise decision. I mean, what do you have to lose at this point to get to the mainland? It's pretty wild.
David, when you told her that Key West police were actually here on the mainland, that they had left the island, I saw a flicker of surprise on her face, but she said, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. She's confident that her loved ones down in the Keys will be okay. But that officer you spoke to seemed very shocked to get that order. So talk about sort of the comparison there between their two reactions.
Yeah, I think that, sure, it was surprising for her, but as she's got to tell herself that her mom's going to be okay and her family's going to be okay. I mean, if you're going to leave them there, you've got to tell them, hey, this is our other crew coming in. You got to tell them that everything's going to be okay. You got to tell yourself, because she's here and mom's not. And maybe mom's watching right now. Who knows? And maybe she's thinking about it now. I don't know. Adam, you guys are coming up. We're live, just so you know. Adam, you're coming from the racetrack.
Yeah.
people were talking about some issues down there. Did you guys see anything going on, or was it?
The lights were on at the Florida City racetrack, and people were just coming in thinking that they were open, but they're not.
Gotcha. These are all people coming in from the Keys, right?
Yes, from Marathon and Key West. They saw the latest projections, and then they just decided to leave when they saw it was going to head that way, possibly Category 5, 4, and that's it.
There's no gas, though, at the racetrack, right?
There is no gas at that racetrack. They're not open. They're all wrapped. The lights are on inside in the market, but they're closed.
Gotcha. Is anyone telling them to keep going, or is it just kind of a free-for-all, everyone hanging out thing?
Florida City police came by, kind of got everyone out of there, so it didn't look like there was gas, because if one person's there, it looks like they have gas. So they were there, everyone left, so now it looks like people come and go, but there is nothing there.
Hey, an actual reporter here. Although this guy's pretty good, I gotta say, right? Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. I know you're waiting in line to get gas. Keep going. There's a line here, apparently. Yeah, we're moving. Sorry about that, sir. Where did Ted go? Ted, come here, man. Ted, we're live, just so you know. Welcome to TV.
Hello. Good morning.
Ted Scout, my colleague, everybody, who's actually going to be taking over for me, just to bring you up to speed, because you're just coming up here. And we've been on the air for the last, I don't know, 20 or so minutes. Key West police were here. They evacuated. They were given the order by their chief, told to leave, and so they brought their cars here, and they're basically scattered around Miami-Dade County right now. In addition, we've met several people here shell-shocked, just in total shock over what's happening, and they're running from the storm.
You know, I was just at the 18-mile stretch where it comes in from the Keys, and there were a lot of cars coming in this morning. And I've been in the Keys, just like you have for the past few days, and where they've been really giving those warnings, get out, get out, get out. You know, we're not going to respond. Emergency managers aren't going to, or emergency officials aren't going to respond. Like you saw the Key West police here, they got to keep their people safe so they can be there to serve others once the storm is over. But I was talking to some people who said when they saw that new track and they saw that the Keys were, you know, more in the bullseye there, that's when they just ran. I mean, I talked to a woman from Key West this morning, and she said, I saw that track, I looked over at my child, and I thought, we got to get out of here, and they got out right away.
Gotcha. I'm noticing a whole different shade of color on these folks. They're scared.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, so many times, you know, you get complacency from people either who wrote out what they thought was a storm when it was only like the feeder bands of a storm or something like that. So they say, oh, I've been through a lot of hurricanes and it was fine. No, you were through the feeder bands of a hurricane, not the hurricane. Because if you've been through a hurricane, you know you don't want to stay in the Keys, especially with that surge.
Yeah,
I mean, again, the islands are 3 to 5 feet above sea level. So it takes nothing to have that surge just push right over.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty important, if anybody is watching in the Florida Keys right now, that if you get to when you get to the mainland,
right, to the Sapper Creek, that's where there's gas. In Florida City, we haven't found any gas at all right now. I don't know if anyone's getting any later today or not, but we have found none. And the lines here actually seem to be moving pretty quickly. They're flowing well.
You guys were in line, right?
Yeah, we were in line too. There's our car right there. We were in line. We've only been here a few minutes, so it hasn't been bad.
So guys, as you see, a developing situation here in Snapper Creek as the folks try to evacuate. I would be curious, I think maybe it would be advantageous right now to have our meteorologists sort of let the people know how much time they have to get out.
Yeah, one other thing to mention too, there's going to be 4 shelters of last refuge is what they're calling it. They open at 7 o'clock this morning. It's the 4 high schools in the Keys, so in Sugarloaf, Key West, Marathon, and Isla Morada. In Isla Morada, the name of the school. Coral Shoals. So those are going to be the 4 of last resort, last refuge is what they're calling it. Not full-fledged shelters, but if you got to get, you know, away from bad weather, surge, and whatever, that's the place to go there.
Yeah, and they were saying that even their EOCs are not built for Category 5, right?
Right. Yeah, they said the EOCs, when it gets to, I think, to a 2 or something, that's when they leave. And actually this morning they're going to be making the decision as to what their emergency managers are going to do, where they're going to ride out the storm, and it may not be in the Keys. They may be leaving as well, getting out of the Keys. That was in their release, and that's what they had talked about before, that, you know, they give this advice to get out, and, you know, so this morning they're going to be making that crucial decision as to where they are going to be when the storm is happening. But can't say it enough. If you stay there, it's on your own, and you're completely on your own. They've said that over and over and over again. And if you're a parent, you're making that decision for not only yourself, but for your family. They brought that point up too yesterday. They were very strong.
I always thought of on your own means during the storm you dial 911, no one's going to pick up. But this is saying on your own, after the storm, you're on your own.
Yeah, well, because they were talking about, too, you know, the idea of, it was the county manager as well as the city manager of Marathon saying, you know, if you think that, you know, this is going to be one of those storms where, you know, in 2 days we're handing you some bottled water, think again, because that's not going to happen. Because if there's destruction outside of the Keys, so in this part of the state, in Miami-Dade or Broward or other parts of the state, and it's difficult to get vehicles and trucks down, that's going to be one thing that impedes you getting help. Two, if any of those bridges are damaged, anyone below it is cut off. So the only way you're going to get stuff is by boat or by helicopter, and that's not going to happen overnight.
All right. Listen, we're going to have to take a quick break here. Mitch has been running around with this on his shoulder, and I got to give him a little bit of a break here, guys. But we'll definitely be covering more here. Ted is going to actually take over for me, and he's going to be telling the story from here. But we'll send it back to you guys at the station.
All right, guys, excellent coverage of what's happening there. Sad to see all of this happening, but let's focus on what we can do to help these people, and that is getting them the shelter information, or we should say the shelter of last refuge or last resort, which is what it's being called. Ted was talking about this, and we can list them off here for you again. If you're watching us in the Keys, this is where you should go. Keep in mind that if you try to get in your car and get out of there now, gas is hard to come by, conditions are not optimal for driving, so it might not be as easy as you may think at this point, and you may want to instead consider going to one of these 4 shelters you're looking at right here on the screen. They are the Coral Shores High School, that is in Plantation Key, Marathon High School in Marathon, obviously, also the Sugarloaf School in Sugarloaf Key, and Key West High School in Key West. These are not fully set up shelters. This was not part of the original plan, but because so many people decided to stay there and now are having regrets, and we can say that because we've heard it from some of them directly, this is the best that can be done right now in Monroe County. This is where you can go to try to get away from the elements which we've been seeing now for several hours and will continue to see for hours to come.
But you just heard